What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. In this video, we're going to watch Candace Owens debate a bunch of very woke students at a Turning Point USA event. Links to Candace, links to Turning Point USA are in the description down below. Let's get it.
My question isn't specifically about anything you really said tonight, although I don't really agree with anything you said.
Okay.
I'm proudly part of the LGBTQ community. I've always stood up for my community whenever I needed to.
Is there a question in there or a speech?
Yes.
You got to ask a question, buddy. I know you wrote this out in your notes, but ask a question. Let's go.
How do you think other people who, with your beliefs, respond to the fact that your hateful and harmful rhetoric costs the lives of queer children every single day, on average, every 45 seconds?
Okay, so this is just going to be a pure boogeyman. You're pretending that someone committed suicide because of Candace Owens. You've got no facts here. You're just going, it's your rhetoric that's causing all of this. When in reality, you want to talk about the tea. I sat down with a man named Walt Heyer who was convinced to chop his penis off after your community told him that there was something wrong with him because he had confusion. Why was he trans? Because he was molested when he was 4 years old by his uncle. Rather than being sat down and spoken to by a psychologist, he was handed hormone pills, and he eventually chopped off his penis. Walt Heyer is now 80 years old. He detransitioned, and he does a lot of work talking about why it is that he runs a charity, okay, an actual charity that is dedicated to sex change regret, of people who have changed their parts and can't go back. And you know what happens? Suicide rates go up after they transition. And Candace Owens wasn't the one that chopped their dicks off. I just want to say, I am not the doctor who chopped off these people's penises. I am not the person that caused them to have that depression after they go through these transitions and can't just magically go back. So as I said, that is a complete, it's just creating an absolute straw man. Your rhetoric has done this. You have no idea what's going on in those individuals' lives and how they are being inspired to ruin their own lives. And so on my platform, I do host people that have sex change regret, and I speak to those individuals because the community needs to hear those stories before they make those same decisions and can't turn around. Plain and simple.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question. Seriously, somebody just give out free hugs or something somebody give out free hugs. I can't be your mommy, okay? I'm too pregnant. I can't be your mommy. Next up.
As a non-binary person, what do you have to tell me about my identity? Because I know for a fact I'm not confused.
Okay, next question. Great statement. Hi, how are you?
And Candace Owens is a damn pitbull, man. She takes no shite from any of these people, man. She's uppercutting and right hooking them as they ask their question or make their statements. Like, do these people not know who they're dealing with? Do they not know who she is? Have they not watched her show or watched any of her like debates or these like Turning Point USA events? Because she's going to do this all day long to these people if they go up there unprepared. She's just going to make them look stupid. And look, if you're going to be a woke idiot and you're going to ask silly questions, this is what you're going to get. You know, pow! Let's get back to it.
Ew.
Hi, I was wondering where you got your statement, your statistic about people who transition, detransition, as well as that you are infertile after transitioning. Because I myself take hormones. I do testosterone injections, and I've gone through a lot of doctors, and none of them told me that was true.
Okay, so on my podcast, I actually cite all the sources. If you look up my name and my podcast, you can, it's in so many articles. And also, as I said, sexchangeregret.org actually lists all of these statistics with their sources. So obviously, I can't give you a hyperlink as I'm standing on the stage, but you can definitely find it on my podcast, and you can find it on sexchangeregret.com. Thank you for the question. That was, I think, the first question we got there.
How you should be doing it. Ask a legit question or get into a legit debate. Don't call people names. Don't be rude. Don't go up there yelling, because you're just going to make yourself look like a fool on any topic. And Candace is right. If you look this stuff up, you will see, especially people that were kind of forced to transition or their parents didn't protect them enough and they transitioned at a young age. By the time they're in their 20s and 30s, they regret it. A lot of these people, say a young boy, for example, who transitions to being a trans woman, a lot of them, they would have just ended up being a gay man, which is totally fine, and they wouldn't have all the issues that they have that came with transitioning into being a woman. So, yeah, there's tons of these stories out there, and some of them are really sad, to be honest with you. If you hear them, if you listen to that stuff, they're quite sad, and these are people that this could have been avoided because they were pretty much taken advantage of when they were little kids. They didn't know all the facts, and they had, in a lot of cases, just bad parenting. Let's get back to it.
Hi.
According to Britannica, the definition of the nuclear family has expanded with the advent of same-sex marriage. Children in nuclear families may be couples' biological or adopted offspring. Does this mean that the merch you sell supporting, nuclear families means that you support trans couples adopting, gay couples adopting, and spreading this rhetoric that you talk about?
So you're talking about the expansion of definition. So right now they've expanded the definition of woman to include biological males. This gets back into what I was saying earlier about the left controlling linguistics and just pretending that, okay, a nuclear family can now be two trans parents that are adopting a child. That is not the nuclear family unit that I am talking about. I believe that I am talking about marriage between a male and a female, which naturally and biologically produces children. So no, I do not take that new updated definition of what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a nuclear family.
And this is why I care about this topic, because I care about the truth. It's not at all because I care so much about what this community does in their home behind closed doors. Could care less. I care about the truth, though, and I care about women and their spaces and how they're being affected. I care about children. I care about facts, and I care about human beings, which is why when you start changing the word fetus in the dictionary to suit your needs or your narrative or the ideology that you're trying to preach, when you start changing the word woman, when you start changing the definition of what a nuclear family is, then people start to care. A man cannot just miraculously become a woman. A woman just can't miraculously become a man based on I feel like a woman or I feel like a man. No man on the planet, no biological man knows what it's like to feel like a woman, and vice versa. This is why this conversation matters. It's about truth, it's about language, it's about laws that affect all of the population just to appease a very, very small, minute part of the population. Guys, if you like these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel, leave a thumbs up. Let's keep going.
I've raised my hand before, so I just want to preface that I am, have opposite views, but I do want to have a genuine conversation without feeling belittled, so I do just want to preface that.
Yeah.
I am a feminist. I do study specifically academia and the structure of academia and what that looks like for people of color. So in relation to free speech, do you feel that, free speech is free for everybody in terms of Western society and the America that we live in today, and at what point does free speech no longer become free?
What do you mean, at what point does it become no longer become free?
Some rhetoric can be harmful to other communities, especially in the way that it's spread in the media, and I think that goes for both sides. But
can you give me an example? It's always easier to answer a question.
So what I know we all are aware of what happened on campus last year.
I'm not.
Okay. Great, look it up.
Girl, you can't go up there and say, I have different points of views, but I want to have a nice, debate, a good conversation, and then take that route. That's not going to work.
So it was just involving the feeling of LGBTQ members of the community feeling unsafe with rhetoric that's being shared in terms of transphobia.
If you're a man, I need an example, and someone, if you're a biological man and someone says, hey, what's up, dude?
More of there's students on campus that are living in communities where they don't feel safe because of rhetoric of explaining that transphobia isn't accepted. So my question is just how do you think free speech impacts everybody in community?
Yeah, the idea that if somebody looks at a man and calls them a man, that they're suddenly unsafe because they've created a false reality in their own head. I don't abide by that. I think this is what's really happening is that we are celebrating mental disorders in America right now. I had a stalker, a very serious stalker at FBI, ended up getting involved, who had suffered from schizophrenia. He very much believed, and it was a terrifying thing to go through. He escaped the Psych 5150 hold, and he very much believed that he and I were in a relationship, and he would send me about 100 emails a day, okay? In the world of what you believe in your own head now needs to be accepted as reality, I would have had to marry him and raise my children with him, okay? But what was going on in his head wasn't actually reality. And me saying that this person needs to stay away from me and my family because there's something wrong with him and he was threatening to kill me if I didn't, raise my child with him, that was reality. That was something that had to be dealt with. So what's happened right now is the left is trying to make it seem that people who see reality for what it is are demented and are creating unsafe territory, and that's not the truth. In fact, what I think is unsafe territory is for people to be affirmed in their delusions. So I will never refer to a biological male as a female. And if that makes somebody feel unsafe, you know, I'm not following you around. I don't know what happened on your campus. I wouldn't follow you around and say, hey, you're a male. Totally fine. Go live your life as you want to live your life. But when you say that the way that you live your life now has to impact me and I have to pretend that I see a woman when clearly you are a man, I shouldn't have to play that game. That's all. Thank you very much.
This young lady, I think, started off with the good intentions of having a conversation with Candace. But as we see with a lot of these woke students, when things don't go their way, they start with a name calling, they start getting upset and angry and all up in their feelings, which is kind of what happened here when she told Candace, well, you just look it up, as if she's supposed to know everything that's happened on campus or in that city. Don't expect that. You provide the facts, you provide the story, and then you guys can both talk about it. Now, she was talking about hate speech, and we have laws that say you're not allowed to incite violence, and those laws are in place for a reason. We've had them forever. But you leave speech alone, because this is something that Jordan Peterson talks a lot about, is who defines hate? Who defines what hate speech is? Because, you know, if you ask 100 people, you're going to get 100 different answers. And most of the time, if laws had to be put in place on this, the people that would be deciding what hate speech is the people that you would least want in charge of defining hate speech. You don't want, in this case, the Democratic government or the Liberal government in Canada to define hate speech, because they will define it in a way that suits their narrative. You leave speech alone. If somebody's going to get offended because somebody says facts or truth, and look, in life, like Candace said, life is tough. Wear a helmet. I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Peace out, and I'll catch you all in the next one.